Hi, everyone. My name is Zoe Alexander, and I'm a Law of Attraction life coach. You can find out more about my work at simplylovelyenergy.com. But today, I basically wanted to share a story about something that I have been doing energy work on for, I think, about 10 years, which says a lot because I'm only 25. Um, but it's also something that's very abstract, and I've had to use some abstract means to work through it. And so I thought it would be a cool story to share here so you can get an idea of how doing this kind of energy work actually works, as well as get a sense of how, to be frank, kind of strange it can be sometimes. Um, but basically, to give a little backstory on what it was that I've been working on, is that since I've been very young, since I was about 5 years old or so, I've sort of had these manifestations in which I have a visualization of a monster that's coming after me and it wants to kill me and eat me. And that's very common for young kids to sort of be afraid of monsters in the dark. Um, but I would actually see it coming after me. And I've never had that manifestation fully go away. Like it's shown up in various forms, but the monster still comes after me. So when I was really young, it used to be the Nunu, which is this vacuum cleaner thing from the Teletubbies, because that really scared me as a kid. And as I've gotten older, what that monster is has changed as I've gotten scared by different things. So for a while after watching Jurassic Park, it was velociraptors that would come after me. And then recently, this past year, it switched again because I was watching the series Hill House, The Haunting of Hill House, which is an excellent series. But there was this really creepy, like, mummy thing that would slide after and went after one of the characters. And then that image, that representation changed for me. And I realized that this is something that I should probably work on because it's still changing for me, even in adulthood. And so I've tried over the years to come up to do energy work with it. And basically, what I'll do for that is when it's coming after me, I'll try to think of anything I can to basically work with it. So sometimes I just sit there and I try to let it come after me and kill me or whatever. It's usually like at the end of the edge of the door, and it's always at nighttime when I'm in bed. And then it like comes to where I'm sleeping and attacks me. So I've tried sitting with it and letting it come and attack me, and just let that happen over and over again. But that hasn't really lifted anything. Like I haven't felt better after doing that. So that hasn't really worked. I've tried sitting with it and asking it what it wants, like as if it's a representation of some aspect of myself. And I haven't really gotten anywhere with that. It just tells me that it wants to kill me, basically, because it's a monster. So that hasn't really gotten me anywhere. I've tried picturing like a protective force field. That doesn't work. It just breaks through the force field. And basically anything I've tried to come up with, it just hasn't worked on this representation. So the other night, it all of a sudden appeared again, and it was coming after me. And I was trying to think of what to do that I hadn't already done. And then it occurred to me that I haven't told anybody about this. Like this is just something I've literally had since I was 5 years old, right? Like this sort of manifestation in different forms. And I've never told anybody about it because I was afraid they would think I was crazy, right? But like I know it's just a representation. It's just a fear that's playing in my mind. I can differentiate it from reality. So it occurred to me that maybe it's just something I should tell someone so I can work through it. So in the middle of the night while this was happening, my partner was sleeping next to me. And I just kind of woke him up and I said, like, hey, like I have this nightmare, and I was kind of explaining what's going on. And he's half asleep. He's not really awake for it, but it wasn't really about him necessarily hearing it. It was just about kind of getting it off my chest. And then I asked him, hey, can you hold me? Like, can you keep me safe from the monsters? And he's, half awake, so he's like, yeah, sure. And, you know, holds me close and then falls back asleep. And I just kind of sat with that for a minute. Um, and I realized now, basically, what I had asked him to do is I had asked him, can you hold the energy for me? Like, can you hold the energy of being safe? So that way I have a little bit of an access to a better feeling, like a higher vibration, so I can tackle this problem instead of from just being in a place of complete panic and fear. Um, but I wasn't thinking of it in those terms, because sometimes you just kind of do the work and then you figure out what that representation was after you've done the work. So basically, he was holding me for a couple minutes. I was starting to feel a little more comfortable, and then I had this thought that I'd never had before, because I hadn't really had access to it. And I remembered that in the Harry Potter stories, there is a creature that basically will transform into whatever you're most afraid of. And the way that the students, like that the wizards, deal with the creature is they use a spell to turn it into something really ridiculous and scary, so that they're not, or really ridiculous and not scary, so that they're not afraid of it anymore. And so it occurred to me, I've never tried that before. I might as well. So I sat with that and thought of what could make it less scary. And what came to mind was like a frilly pink hat, like a hat with a wide brim that's all fuzzy and like hot pink, because that's not a scary article of clothing to me. And so I tried visualizing the mummy thing with a pink hat, and it helped. Like, it helped a lot. It seemed much less scary. But it still had claws that could scratch me and teeth where it could bite me. So I thought about what could I do to make those less scary. And the answer for me was putting like fuzzy mittens on it so it couldn't claw at me. And then I sort of like had its mouth shut basically with stitches, and then put a mask over it so it couldn't bite me. And that helped a lot. And the manifestation of it still hasn't gone away. Like, there's still a little bit of energy work that I need to do to have it just not show up in my reality at all. But now I have something to make it not scary. And for me, that is huge, because again, this is something I've faced my entire life and have been trying to do work on it for basically 10 years, even before I even really knew what energy work was. So that is a huge success. And basically the reasons I kind of wanted to tell this story is because, one, sometimes energy work just really is that abstract. Like, I sound weird when I'm talking about it, but it's just doing that kind of work is a representation of whatever you need to do to get to a better feeling place. So if it's putting a fuzzy pink hat on a monster that isn't even real, like that's fine. That's great. Whatever helps you work through it is helpful. And I wanted to share that story as a life coach, so that hopefully you feel a little less self-conscious about doing that kind of work and allowing yourself to go there. And the second reason that I wanted to share it is because sometimes things really just do take a long time to be able to work through. And that's not to discourage you or make you give up hope and that, oh gosh, I can never get through something. But just as a story that even people who have been doing this energy work for a long time and have really studied it, like, we even get tripped up on some things. And if it's a big manifestation, it can take us a while to do that work through it. And we're always, fine-tuning it. Because I still don't know what that fear was that caused me to have this manifestation of visualizing a monster coming after me in the first place. Like, I don't know if this is just a normal fear of the dark that I never really got over, or whether something happened and so my mind visualized it as a monster, and I may never know. But the important thing is that you need to know how to do the energy work for whatever's coming up in your reality now so that you can release it. And that's what I'm focusing on. Just what can I do to make this monster less scary Is there a way I could make this monster my friend? And just kind of asking myself those questions and allowing myself to go to whatever answer is there, no matter how silly it is. Because if you trust that what you're doing is helping you get there, then you'll find the answers that you need. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was really helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more law of attraction sort of tips and tricks, I have them on my website. I do a weekly blog post that is free to look at, and that's at simplylovelyenergy.com. And if you're also interested in working with a coach so you can have someone to hold the energy for you, so to speak, so that you can work through those limiting beliefs, feel free to check me out again at my website, simplylovelyenergy.com, and look under coaching where you can book a session with me. And with that, I wish you all a wonderful week and happy manifesting.